When you see how superior some animal senses are compared to those of humans, you might wonder how we ever manage to stay on top of the food chain. Animal super senses. You won't believe what's possible. This is Animal Super Senses, the show that grants you the vision and sound, the scents and smells, tastes and touches of the animal realm. Those are the senses we share with most animals, but what about those senses that no human is equipped with? Some animals seem to have superhuman senses, powers that can detect magnetic fields, electrical fields, and infrared radiation. Yes, there's a whole spectrum of information out there that just passes us ordinary humans by. We need special technology to register and measure them, whereas some animals come with their own biological equipment just for that purpose. Welcome to the arena of superhuman animal super senses. We begin our journey with some animals that are truly magnetic. Tiny quantities of magnetite have been found in many animals with a superior sense of direction. But let's begin with a bit of a flutter, courtesy of the monarch butterfly. Small but perfectly formed, it is found in various habitats around the world, as far apart as New Guinea and Bermuda, New Zealand, and Mexico. Those found in the eastern U.S. and southeast Canada spend the summer months there before flying south for winter to a single mountainous spot in central Mexico. It's a journey that can see them fly up to 5,000 kilometers. The second and third generation monarch butterflies return in the spring. But how do they know their way home, or indeed find their way south in the first place? By using their internal compass, literally. It used to be thought monarch butterflies navigated by the position of the sun. But that didn't explain how they continued in the right direction even on heavily overcast days. Not only that, but to adjust for changes in location when they are literally blown off course. The butterflies must be able to set and reset their internal compass based on their current location. Biologists have found monarch butterflies have magnetic molecules in their brains sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. So really, just like a compass. They use these in combination with the sun's position to make their epic journeys. Any way you look at it, long-distance animal migrations are one of the great wonders of the natural world. And nowhere more so than the marine environment, where migratory patterns can reach amazing magnitude. How these creatures find their way there and back, navigating vast distances with such precision, was for a long time a mystery. A riddle of sensory and behavioral biology. Sea turtles, like the loggerhead turtle here, are among the most extraordinary navigators of the fathomless deep. As hatchlings, baby turtles which have never before been in the ocean are able to somehow set an unfailing course towards the open sea and then maintain their heading long after swimming beyond the visible shoreline. Little baby hatchling loggerhead sea turtles first swim from the Florida coast eastward to the North Atlantic. Then, gradually over the course of several years, following complicated migratory paths over huge expanses of seemingly featureless ocean, then return again to the North American shores. Now, the most difficult part of open sea navigation is determining longitude or east or west position. It took human navigators centuries of long-distance voyages to figure out how to do that. But luckily, loggerhead turtles pick up on magnetic signals in order to determine their position, both east-west and north-south. As adults, they retain these phenomenal navigational skills, which guide them as they migrate between specific feeding areas and nesting beaches. Other long-distance migrators thought to possess magnetic superpower sense include both humpback and sperm whales. Sperm whales, of course, are easy to recognize due to their enormous heads with prominent foreheads. They have the largest brain of any creature on Earth. They dive over 3,000 feet in search of food and consume about 3% of their body weight per day. When they dive for their dinner, they can hold their breaths for up to 90 minutes. Female sperm whales and calves remain in tropical or subtropical waters the whole year round and apparently practice communal childcare. Males become sexually mature at 18 years, at which point they migrate to higher latitudes, where the water is colder and the pickings are richer. Traveling alone or in groups, they cruise the oceans at over 30 kilometers per hour. Later, they head back towards the equator to breed. These journeys would seem to require a pretty foolproof internal compass. Humpback whales, meanwhile, are found in all the world's oceans. In the southern hemisphere, humpback whales will migrate from Antarctica to the subtropical coastal waters of western and eastern Australia and Fiji, where they mate and give birth during the winter and spring. Northern humpback whales, on the other hand, find their way from Alaska to Hawaii, swimming in a straight line. We're talking journeys that are thousands of kilometers long. How do they do it? One theory is they have a unique guidance system, utilizing a combination of solar and magnetic navigation. This hypothesis comes in part from mass strandings of whales, thought to be affected by solar activity causing disturbances to the Earth's magnetic field, and the fact that small quantities of magnetite have been found in the brains of humpback whales. Another ocean leviathan, the shark, finds its way around thanks to the power of electroreception. In fact, every type of shark breed has electrical sensors in their nose and heads, named after a 17th century man of science called Stefano Lorenzini. The ampullae of Lorenzini are actually special electroreceptor organs. Though named almost 350 years ago, it was only in the 1960s where Dutch scientists were able to identify the main function of Lorenzini's ampullae, electroreceptivity. In the last 15 years, it's been concluded that sharks can also perceive temperature deviations using the electrosensory system. When a fish swims through the water, it generates an electric field which is detected by the sharks. These sensors wouldn't work anywhere near as well in the open air, but salt water is an excellent conductor of electricity. Even a stingray hidden beneath the sand is not safe from the sensors of a hammerhead shark. So, while its name might suggest anything but refinement, the hammerhead shark, as seen here, does have a very refined sense of electroreception. That's thanks to the size and shape of their broad, flat heads, meaning the ampullae are spread over a greater surface area, so sensing out prey is made that much easier. And now to an animal that's an exception to the rule, and just about every other rule. The platypus, known too as the duck-billed platypus, is a semi-aquatic, egg-laying mammal found only in eastern Australia and Tasmania. The first scientists to examine a specimen believed they were victims of some elaborate taxidermy hoax. Well, the platypus is definitely a one-off. It has a duck bill and webbed feet, a beaver tail, and the body shape and fur of an otter. Male platypuses are also venomous, with sharp stingers on the heels of their rear feet that will knock out just about anything with a pulse. These Australian mammals are bottom feeders that will hunt underwater. In spite of their mishmash of physique, they make surprisingly graceful swimmers. They paddle with their front webbed feet and steer with their hind legs and that beaver-like tail. When they submerge, folds of skin cover their eyes and ears and stop water from entering, and their nostrils are sealed shut. The platypus can remain underwater for a minute or two at a time, using its sensitive duck bill to find food. Shellfish, worms, larvae, and insects make up the bulk of the platypus's diet. Along with bits of mud and gravel, all these consumables are stored in pouches in the platypus's cheeks. When they come to the surface, they mash everything up and eat it, using the bits of gravel to help them chew their food. Well, after all, it's not like they have teeth. But if their eyes and nostrils are closed underwater, then how do they manage to sense potential food when it's around? The answer can be found on its duck-like bill. Each and every platypus bill contains around 40,000 electroreceptors arranged in rows. Electrical impulses alert the platypus to objects underwater. Electrical currents travel through water better than air, and the platypus's side-to-side swimming style surely helps conductivity too. Let's head back to dry land, to the forests and woodlands of either Papua New Guinea or Australia. That's where you'll find this spiky fellow, the echidna, a short-beaked echidna in this case. Sometimes known as spiny anteaters, the echidna is, like the platypus, an egg-laying mammal. If you live in Australia, you have seen its likeness on the 5-cent coin. But unlike the platypus, the spiny anteater spends all its time on dry land, giving it the distinction of being the world's only terrestrial egg-laying mammal. The echidna is also the only land-born mammal we know to possess the supersense of electroreception. Put simply, hundreds of receptors concentrated in the tip of the snout allow it to pick up on natural electrical stimuli. This is particularly useful when it comes to hunting for buried prey. The short-beaked echidna, as seen here, uses those electroreceptors to pick up on the movements of ants and termites. Concealed as they may be to the naked eye, but the humidity in their nests, particularly after the rain, is a dead giveaway. And now, from curious egg-laying animals to a creature that most of us would probably pass by without a second thought, given the opportunity. We speak now of the dung beetle. Not the most glamorous of creations, this humble insect is actually remarkable in several ways. Okay, let's deal with their diet first. Just as their name suggests, Dung beetles are beetles that feed exclusively, or for the main part anyway, on dung and feces. Industriously laboring away on the lower end of the food chain, they possess exceptional talent as dung disposal units. Why a single dung beetle can bury dung that is 250 times its own body weight in the course of one night. Because this critter does a lot more than just live up to its name. It calls to mind something the writer and wit Oscar Wilde once said: "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." Well, as it turns out, the dung beetle is looking at the stars. Dung beetles have compound eyes that are built for low light. While most insects would only be able to see a few of the brightest stars in the sky, the Milky Way's distinctive streak of light is a useful navigation cue. It has been deduced already that dung beetles use polarized moonlight to walk backwards in a straight line. But figuring out how they orient themselves on moonless nights has just been discovered. Scientists tested the idea that dung beetles exploit the starry sky for orientation. They created special little hats made from black cardboard, which were taped to the heads of dung beetles. The hats blocked the beetles' view of the night sky and confirmed the scientists' hunch that these insects navigate by using the Milky Way's map of the stars. The theory was confirmed in a planetarium, where a projection of the Milky Way was turned on and off. The dung beetle is now in the sensory spotlight. The humble poo gatherer presents the first documented use of the Milky Way for orientation in the animal kingdom. A sunset is a thing of beauty, but it's more than that for songbirds. Recent research in two songbird species, Swainson's thrushes and gray-cheeked thrushes, has demonstrated that. Scientists are positive these birds can detect Earth's magnetic field even if they're not quite sure how. While it's well documented that animals such as sea turtles rely on internal stores of mineral magnetite, which act like tiny magnetic needles in the animal's cells, how birds do it is still a mystery. Receptors in their eyes, or do they do it with their sense of smell? The jury, so to speak, is still out. Whatever the case, even though these birds are well equipped to detect Earth's magnetic field, they also need to calibrate their internal compass from time to time, on a daily basis, in fact. Relying solely on Earth's magnetic field could have the effect of blowing the songbirds off course as the field shifts direction in their North American breeding grounds. Enter the sun, which always sets in the west. It's nice to know that even for animals with superhuman senses, sometimes the eternal verities stay true. On Animal Super Senses, the stars are the senses. And in this episode, they've taken us from the ocean's depths to the skies above, from life teeming beneath our feet to one of the largest creatures on Earth. We have been on a journey of senses, superhuman animal senses. But the trip is far from over. These incredible powers of perception will live to fight again another day. So join us next time on Animal Super Senses.